What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to, well, the Bianconeri zone for the Jonathan David, I don't know, stats video. I haven't really looked into it because I'm going to do it differently this summer because I hope the most, not hope, but the players we're going to sign, most likely I've watched play, maybe not a lot, depending on which player it's going to be. So I'm going to just tell what I think I expect from a player, and then we're just going to dive into the stats. I've not looked them up. I prepped them, I opened it, but I've not really looked into it. So we're going to do that in this video directly. So I'm probably will be shocked with certain things, and we'll backtrack things I thought he was going to offer us, I'm gonna say so, but I think that's a different way to do of doing it. Before we get into it, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel as always, hit that bell notification especially, and let's talk about Jonathan David. Okay, so we signed Jonathan David. I think that's all obvious right now, and the opinions are very, I won't say very divided. I don't think he's a top player. I'm not gonna say that. I don't think he can be the main guy. I don't think he's gonna be the reason on his own if we're gonna be competing, yes or not. But I think he could be a very good piece. I think he can play his part as well. I've watched him play in the Belgium league as well. So that's kind of handy when it comes to that. He was good in he was too good for the Belgian league. Let me put it that way. And you might say, well, obvious. No, it's not obvious. Because most players who leave the Belgian league do pretty well outside of it, and have a decent career. Not most of them, but not all of them, excuse me. Most of them, they do to a certain degree and level. So I've watched actually more in the Belgium league than I watched Lille. I'm not gonna deny that. But I think he's a decent player. Is he the top player I want? No, I think we're all waiting on that signing still. But let's dive into it really quickly. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys, and I will scroll so you guys can follow a little bit. So I pulled up his stats and I put it up against Vlahovic's stats, and I just throw in Colomani in there because it's not certain Colomani is going to stay. It's not even certain Vlahovic is going to leave. We all assume he's going to leave, but when we talk about it, it's, I think, important that we can compare the three players a little bit, but especially focus on Jonathan David and Vlahovic most likely. Now, as you can see, this is not correct because I wanted for the entire career. That's why I'm doing it live. There we go. That's not okay as well. Okay, matches played for... And it's also not correct. Maybe I should have done it in a different way. Let me see. Entire career. Okay. No. Let me do this. Because I want to see all the games he played for Lille, if that's possible. Because I think we're gonna see some similarities with Vlahovic and some things that I think not a lot of people were expecting to see from him as well. I think certain things will be closer to Vlahovic and other things will be far away from Vlahovic. So careers, that's what I wanted to see. Matches played. So he played more games than Vlahovic. And he started a lot more games than Vlahovic, which is a little bit surprising. I'm not going to lie. But then if you deep it, he played for Ghent. So maybe that makes a bit more sense, but still he started, excuse me, more game than Vlahovic. That I thought was very interesting as well. Now, the goals and the assists are impressive. If you just look at the goals he scored, 161, that's almost like he played 337 games. So I mean, that's 1 on 2, even more. But like, let's say 1 on 2 when he scores, like every game, and then he scores 1 game yes, 1 game no. So I think that's a pretty solid return, for any player to have those amount of goals with those amount of games played. I cannot really, I don't think we can complain about that if we're being completely honest. And he added 45 assists to it as well, which is solid. It's actually very solid. Now, if we need to be honest, I don't think Vlahovic's numbers are that bad if you look at it. But we know that the last 2 seasons have been extremely poor. That we can say it's bad, and the numbers are actually, telling, and they stall the last two couple of seasons. So the goal return, I don't think anyone will have an issue with that if I'm being completely honest. Now, what I do want to look at is this one as well, excuse me, the total shots, because somebody told me that Vlahovic takes quite a lot of shots, and it's correct. He takes a lot of shots. Now, what is for me important, shots on target. So he takes more shots. He takes a lot more shots. He takes almost 100 more shots than Jonathan David. And Jonathan David has more shots on target, which you can say is a bit more, it makes more sense because he took less shots. But the difference is so much, in my opinion. Shots on target. How many times have we seen Vlahovic take shots the last 2 seasons from ridiculous angles where you're like, it's impossible you're going to get that even on goal, let alone score, where it feels like more of a desperation mode. I don't have that feeling when I watch Jonathan David. Like, it's more with it's more with some conviction, and maybe it is Vlahovic has lost his, confidence, and it's going all over the place. That could be the very easy explanation in my opinion. But I thought, I thought when I saw that, or not when I saw that, when somebody told me that Vlahovic takes a lot of shots, and now I see it, he does take a lot of shots. But the issue is, not like, look at the output on target. That's not good. That's actually not good as well. So the shots on target are the same, but yeah, I think the quality of shots on target, excuse me, have been extremely poor when it comes to Vlahovic. What I do want to also bring up was the penalties, because I've seen the debate of, Jonathan David only scores pens. He doesn't only score pens. Like, he scores pens, but when you take 37 pens and you score 30, that's a very good amount. Colomani is 6 on 6, but Colomani is not a pen taker. So I think it's important that when you move out, for example, Vlahovic, you need to have a pen taker at the club. And it's good to know that, well, you can kind of trust Jonathan David, because taking 37 pens and scoring 30 of them, I think, is a very good output. So I think that is also important, because pens are part of the game. Pens are very important. They can make or break a game. It's 1-0, 1-0. You get a pen, you can change the game. You can open up a game. So I think you cannot really brush it to the sides. Oh, it's pens. Pens are important. So if you can convert him, that's good, because you move on Vlahovic, which he's good on pens, in my opinion, and you bring in a player who is as good, maybe a little bit better on pens as well. So I don't think we should be really, brush it to the side. And then again, 37 pens when you score 161 goals. I think that's pretty fair, to be honest. That's not going over the top as well. Now, what I was thinking to do was a passing completion, and I can already see it's ridiculous, the difference, because everybody has an issue with Vlahovic's ability to pass and to hold up play, and we can say it's not part of the game, but it's been so poor with Vlahovic that it's like, even the excuse of like, oh, he's number 9, it's not really part of the game, you need to throw away, because it's been that bad, And on first sight, you can already look at this one. Look at this. Look at this, man. The completed, the attempted, first off, really, really quickly. Obviously, Jonathan David attempted more passes, but I would say the more you attempt, the bigger the risk is that your completion goes down. Like, if you take 2 passes or 20 passes in a game, it's it makes more sense that the 2 passes are going to look better, because if you miss, there's a bigger chance to miss on those 20 than on those 2, in my opinion. And the difference is already ridiculous. Now, Colomani's difference is also low, but he takes, you can see it. Like it's down. It's down bad. It's compared to that. But the completion percentage for a guy who takes so many attempts, I think, is good. It's not perfect, obviously almost 80 is not perfect. It could be much better. But coming from where we are coming, I think that's already, um, in my opinion, an improvement, especially how Tudor wants to play. If you want to press and you want to switch on like we did against Real Madrid really quickly, if the passing is off, if the control is off, it's gone. The things that Colomani and Yildiz set up. If Colomani took two heavy touches, that first half would have looked completely different, and certain chances or opportunities would have never came into play, as well. Now, what I do also want to check is the long passes when it comes to. Oh yeah, it's. I thought Vlahovic was going to be much better. It's actually worse than I thought, to be honest. And it's actually kind of better than I thought from David. I thought it would be much lower than 72, because when he was at Ghent, that was not his specialty at all. I remember a talk show, because he was playing well at Ghent. But I remember a talk show on a Monday evening, that show was, and they were highlighting the way he tried to, switch the play a little bit and all those things, and it looked bad. So probably improve at Lille, but he's not really good at it, but not as poor as I was expecting, to be honest. What I do want to check is this one. The defensive aspect. Tudor wants everyone to press. He wants to win the ball back and play out, and counterattack quickly, Colomani plays well for Tudor because he can press. Vlahovic struggles because he cannot press. He definitely cannot press. So by bringing in a player like Jonathan David, I think it's important that you need to know that can he do his defensive duties? Because with the backline we play and the formation we play and the way we want to play, if the players up top do not do their defensive duties, it's going to be an extremely long season. And you can sign whoever at the back. It's going to be long, period, Now, the difference is crazy. I've not checked it before I was recording this video, but on first sight, I can see it's already ridiculous. If you look at the at the tackles, the difference, yeah, I mean, Jesus. And I'm not saying that my number 9 should be making tackles, but if you want to keep Tudor and you want to play a certain way, then Jonathan David should have a big hand into it, and it should be much better than asking Vlahovic to do that. The tackles, it's four times compared to Vlahovic, and actually winning them is pretty decent as well. And the most important thing, this one, 167. The defensive actions or the tackles and the pressing starts higher up the pitch. That's where it needs to be started. Like, you can have a striker, or if this was the other way around, you can say you play for a team that sits back deep. But to have a player, or Tudor having a player like Jonathan David who can press, who wants to do that pressing as well and do that up top immediately, I think will be very important. Even if you look at the rest, the blocks, interceptions, I mean, the tackles, it's high. It's high. And I was not expecting it to be this high. I was also not expecting Vlahovic's one to be this low as well. So the difference is staggering, and I think it's important. For Tudor, it's important. My opinion was always, I don't need a guy who can get 30 goals on his own. If we get him, sweet. But the way we're looking at it right now, if you don't sign Osimhen, you're looking to spread the goals out. And that means Colomani is going to need to get goals if he stays. David is going to need to chip in. Yul is going to need to chip in. Sancho/Conceição is going to need to chip in. All those things are key. I don't expect him to get 20 goals in a Serie A season. I don't expect Colomani to do that, because I will be putting very unfair expectations on these players, knowing that they're just not going to do it because they're not those type of players. But Colomani can press and David can press. And if you keep Tudor, which you're going to do, I think it's important that you have those qualities in the team, and he has those qualities. For sure he has those qualities in that team. If you want to look at possession, he's not a dribbler. I don't think like he's not a very technical. Like he's technically sounded. You know, he can control a ball, can pass a ball. He's not a dribbler and all those things. He's not gonna beat this man 1v1. He's not that type of player. If I'm being completely honest, so I'm not expecting crazy things from him as well. He takes a lot more touches. The way he plays, that's for sure. And it's going to be different than Vlahovic. It's going to be different. There will be more movement, and I think that's what Tudor wants. Or actually, that's what the club wants. Looking at the players we're trying to sign or target, we're looking at a different Juve. Even Osimhen is more mobile than Vlahovic at this moment in time, and he's quicker than Vlahovic, for example, as as well. You know, as well. Well, this one is interesting really quickly. He doesn't get subbed that often. Vlahovic does get subbed often as well. Aerials, he's not good in the air. That I did wanted to point out. And that's just not going to prove. He's not fantastic. Actually, I have a stat, but I saved it on my phone really quickly, but I'm gonna throw it into it. So, in total, he scored 109 goals for Lille, 37 for Ghent, and 35 for the national team. But 4 clubs out of those 109 plus 37 goals, he scored 70 goals with his right foot. He's right-footed. 37 with his left foot. That's cool. 28 pens for club, and we went there. Only 11 goals did he score with his head, you know, so he's not a guy who's gonna score you a lot of headers. Now, we're not good at set pieces, period, defending and attacking. Yildiz takes it. He's not good at taking them. Like, I've seen Conceição, I've seen Koopmeiners, I've seen Douglas, I've seen everyone take a corner, and everybody is horrible at it. Now, even if we're good at it, right now, besides Colomani and maybe Gatti if he plays, maybe Bremer if he comes back, we're not good in the air. That's for certain. We're not building that type of team. So is that a concern? Not really. You know, we need to find a solution when we get set pieces, because it's right now it's just a waste. When we attack with set pieces, we need to find a solution to it. But he's not good in the air, and that's well known. Period. You know, that's just well known, and we kind of need to accept that as well. So really quickly, I boxed them up together. If you want to see something, and again, that's the last season of Vlahovic. Is it fair? Yes and no. Vlahovic had a very poor season, so it's gonna look worse. He took more shots, and we went over it as well. If you look at the passing, it's the difference is big. It really is big. But we kind of knew that. So am I being unfair to Vlahovic? Not really. I think, you know, because you haven't played well. And David had a very good season, I think. So it's going to look like this, obviously. But the big takeaway for me is he an unbelievable star player? No. Can he be the main guy? No. But the way we're moving, it feels like there's no real main guy unless you get Osimhen. So everybody spread it out. Everybody do your job, and everybody chips in. I think that's how the club is looking at it. Unless they sign Osimhen, and then things might change, you know, for Colomani, for David's position. We will see. But as of now, decent signing. I don't really have anything against it right now, unless this is it and the club is like, we're not going to do anything anymore. Then I'm not going to have anything against the player, but more so towards the club, where it's like, this is not, you know, nearly good enough to make it throughout the season and compete, because you want to compete. So anyways, in the comment section, you let me know what you think about Jonathan David. Is he going to be an improvement on what we have? Do you believe he's going to make a difference? And if so, what kind of difference? And if not, why as well? Let me know in the chat, and we will talk about it in the comments. We'll talk about it. Like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.